Hey everyone. Okay, so Brook, you've got some explaining to do. Who is this Princess Shuri who you know and seemingly shares a resemblance with Gunko? And more to the point, who the fuck are you, Bone Boy? Because you're not just a pirate anymore, and you need to start spilling the beans. And for me, the first thought that comes to mind right now with this whole thing with Brook is that this Princess Shuri was a member of the royal family that ruled over the country that Brook originated from, and much like the Don Quixote family with Dressrosa, they left their kingdom to live in Marijua. Now, where Brook comes into the picture is interesting, even even though we know very little about his past before becoming a pirate, the one thing we do know is that he was apparently the leader of a battle convoy, meaning Brook very likely served his time as a royal guard, protecting this Princess Shuri for the time her family was still the royalty of said kingdom. Now, the one question that needs answering through all this, though, is that if Gunko is this Princess Shuri, which all available information seems to be pointing in that direction, why did she end up becoming one of Imu's chosen? What was the reason for that? What is it that made Princess Shuri that kind of special case that basically Imu had taken interest in her? These are the things I imagine Brook does have at least a cursory answers to of what is it that made Princess Shuri so valuable to Imu. That's kind of the thing I'm kind of curious about the most right now. In saying all that, this chapter does more or less start bringing a resolution to the captive children plot in a way that I was completely off base about, but still kind of liked, as contrary to my prediction last chapter that Usopp doesn't save the kids in this chapter, but rather Road, Gerd, and Goldberg do, as by taking out one of the nightmare monsters through using their own Gokoku sovereignty technique, they end up destroying the ship used to transport them. And yeah, it is kind of a nice twist that in a roundabout way, the God Knight's own plan of being their ended up being their own undoing in this regard. Like, as the monsters they created ended up destroying the ship they were going to use to kidnap the kids. Now, this does beg the question of who's going to deal with Summers now, because although we've undone one part of the plan, from my understanding of reading this chapter, he's still very much he's still very much alive, unless I'm reading it wrong and the monster kind of took him under the sea as well. But even then, I think he's still going to be sticking around for a little while longer. So we need someone to kind of, in order to deliver the final blow to Summers now, because because of this, it does feel like Oda does in fact have a bigger plans for Usopp. But regardless of whoever knocks Summers out, it will be the most glorious moment of pure karma for me, because this man needs to get his ass beat thoroughly at this point, and not just for this, but also for all the shit he did on God Valley as well. Summers, it's one of those things where I'm actually kind of hoping that Summers isn't already defeated and got taken under, because for me the man needs to suffer, and I want to see him suffer a bit longer. So yeah. Pushing that aside, though, for a moment, we do also get to see Zoro put his plan into action, and yeah, it honestly played out not as flashy as I had thought it would, as Zoro's plan was really just to disarm everyone, which in itself could be disappointing from the perspective that we are always expecting Zoro to do something big and flashy, but this was relatively tame by comparison, and maybe part of that is a lot to do with the overall indifference in size, the overall difference in size between him and the Giants. But I think in a way this moment also shows a level of restraint from Zoro, that he truly didn't intend to harm them, just to use the most efficient way to stop the fighting, and which is kind of appreciated as a way of showing Zoro's growth, that yeah, he's not mindlessly swinging his swords around, he's using them. He's found ways in order to fight more effectively in situations where he doesn't want to actually cause any real harm to people. And yeah, Oda couldn't help but tap into the member berries with this moment either, as he straight up referenced the first major shot at Dorian Brogy's fight in Little Garden again. But here it does work, because it shows no matter what those two do not change. Now, I do want to circle back to Usopp for just a moment because, like I said, with how things are going with the captured kids plot, it's looking less likely like he's even going to be involved in that whole thing. And granted, Usopp could still have his moment here by defeating Summers, but truthfully, I don't know how much I believe in it myself anymore. Like, the fact that Oda is very quickly wrapping up this plotline, if effectively still keeping Usopp sidelined, does tell me he does have bigger plans for Usopp, but the question then becomes what that plan is. Because, full stop, it does feel like any plans for Usopp to partake in this, to still partake in this conflict might be in a more direct battle with Emu at this point, which, if that is the case, then I struggle to figure out what his kind of role will be. And the first and only thought that comes to mind is breaking Emu's control over the God Knights and specifically Gunko, but at that point, even then, I just question what would be the steps to get there. And I guess for now, though, I'm just going by the principle that I'm gonna let Oda work his magic, because at the end of the day, only he knows how things with Usopp will go. Like, the man does have a plan for Usopp. It's just kind of just it's for us to figure out, I guess, just what that plan is. Full stop. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe from Blue Sky and West Crunchyroll. But be sure to hit the subscribe button and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime signing off. Later, everyone.